So after reading our book Jump, we are going to be making some type of cactus drawing. So I'm going to give you some choices in terms of which cactus you would like to draw. You could draw more than one if you would like, but let's get started with some ideas for our cacti. In the book, we had seen this type of a cactus here, which is what we would call a prickly pear. A prickly pear cactus. They actually do grow fruit on the end of them, which are quite yummy. I've had them before. If you want to draw the prickly pear cactus, this is going to be sort of like an oval or a circle. But what happens is instead of connecting it, you're going to come down and stop, kind of like a horseshoe. And then what you could do is on one side, doesn't matter which side, you can make a smaller horseshoe shape. So up, around, and back down, ending when I touch the other one. And now the fun part is you can make as many of these as you would like. Maybe one there, maybe one there, maybe it has one growing off the side there. So that's going to give you the idea for the prickly pear. If you wanted to add fruit, you can do tiny baby ovals on top. The fruit is bright pink, like a magenta color. It's beautiful. Now, interesting fact, on the outside of the prickly pear fruit, you're going to see that it looks like it has this little tiny fuzzy spot. No, those are not fuzzy spots. Those are tiny, tiny little prickers that will get into your finger. You can't even see them. The only way you'll feel them is if you go to touch something, you'll say, ouch, there's something in my finger, but I can't really see it. So what people do is they take some tongs and they pluck them, and then they soak them in really, really cold water. And that helps those little prickers get off of it. But if you do buy them in the store, you might every once in a while have a little pricker on there. I had one on the other day. Okay, so that's going to be your prickly pear. You could go ahead if you want and add little dots to it. You could add your needle sticking out. All different things you could do. If you want to do a different type of cactus like this, we call this a saguaro cactus. Looks like it has arms on it, right? They're pretty cool. They can start with a really tall, rounded, like a long upside down U, and back down. Okay, and then you can connect on the bottom. I like to use, just like with our cupcake, I like to use a little round line to show that this is a round cactus. Now what we can also do is come out the side to make our arms, right? So we're gonna come out, and you're gonna do a baby upside down U. So it's the same thing as this, but you're coming out and then doing another one. But I'm not gonna end here. I'm gonna stop and then turn it in there. And then again, you could do as many as you want. Out, upside down letter U, stop, and then come back in. Fun fact about these cacti, it takes about 100 years just to sprout one arm. So when you go into the desert and you see cacti with 10 different arms, you know that it's close to 1,000 years old. Pretty cool. So you can tell how old it is just by how many arms it has grown. Now this type of a cactus, we can make some lines going down from the top to the bottom. Cacti hold water inside of them too, because they live in the desert where it's very, very dry. So they keep water inside. Awesome. Now on here, you're definitely going to see very large spikes. So we're going to add texture. Texture. That word means the way something feels. And cacti feel very, very pointy, right? So on those lines, and even sticking out, I'm going to start to make little prickers. You can even do this right with your black marker. So once you have a few, you can switch, because making the lines is not hard. You're just going to make a whole bunch facing in all different directions. Up, down, diagonal, straight out. You can make as many as you would like. Sometimes birds live inside of the cacti. So if you want, you can make a hole and fill it in. You might even see a bird sitting on top of one. So if you want, you can make a little bird by making a smiley face and connecting it. You can fill that in. You could give it a little tail. You can give it a little head. And maybe even a little beak. Wow, look how cute this is coming along. So I'm gonna finish this up. I'm gonna draw all my other little bits and pieces. I'm gonna outline it and then we can add some color. All right, we'll meet back in a little bit. On floating cacti, I'm going to make ground. So we're going to go from one cactus to the other and stop. Make an invisible line through it. And then continue on the other side. Stop when you hit the edge. Same thing here. I'm going to stop when I hit the cacti. Beep, 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 beep. Invisible line. And then on the other side, I'm going to make the other part. If you forgot any details to outline, you can do that. If you didn't do your artist's secret, we can do that. Remember in our cupcake video, we talked about nobody's gonna know all those mistakes that we made if we just erase those pencil marks. And then you'll see, oops, my points disappeared. I must have forgot to Sharpie them. So double check your work before we move on to your color. I'm gonna add a few little dots to it to show those spots that I was talking about that have those little tiny prickers. Also gives it texture. So it shows the way that cacti feel. Now from here, have fun. You could go ahead and add anything you want. In fact, I am wearing today my scorpion necklace because you could see these in the desert. So maybe you want to add a little scorpion in there. You could do a little tiny round body. They have a whole bunch of little legs. They have a big stinger that comes up. And they even have these little claws in front. There's rattlesnakes in the desert. Maybe you want to add a little rattlesnake snaking away. They have some really cool animals in the desert. So have fun with what else you add here. As always with your color, that's gonna be your choice. You could keep it green. And you can even press harder in some of those areas to get those darker colors. You can add eyes. There's so many different things you can do. You can add some cacti in the background. You can add a mountain in the background. Maybe you want to color the sky and the purple mountain's majesty. There's so many different things you can do. So I'm going to start to add some details and we'll meet back in a little bit.